So today we are answering the big question. Did Trisha Paytas actually rebrand or did she just, grow and learn and become a better person through learning healthy habits and all of her content reflected? They're doing the most trying to convince the world that Trisha is just the devil. And y'all, I will bring it to you now. I've met her. She's very lovely. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Club Crave podcast. I am your host, Nick Williams. Oh, it's episode 3, y'all. We are here. We're still rolling, you guys. We're still doing the thing. I looked into it and it was like a lot of podcasts stop after about 4 episodes. So we haven't made it to 4 yet, but I challenged myself to make it to 15 episodes at least. And I feel like once we get to 15, it'll be like a lot easier to keep going because I've got our routines down and all that. So, and I've edited 15 episodes, so I'll find faster ways to edit and whatnot. And I'll get my rhythm down. I think I'm also working on getting my style down and just kind of what I want the structure of this to be. I'm playing around with different things, and I hope that's okay with y'all. If this is your first time listening to the Club Crave podcast, I'll give you a rundown about who we are, what we do. So I am personally a huge fangirl and stan of a lot of different influencers and celebrities out there. I spend a lot of my time scrolling the TikToks, looking on Twitter, Instagrams, all the things, and keeping up with my side of the internet, right? Um, but I want to get to know your side of the internet. I want to get into the nitty gritty. I want to hear about the emo influencers out there or the gamers, and I want to know what drives them, what motivates them, and I want to have them on. And we're going to do virtual interviews, and we are going to have actually some in-person interviews too. We've got this studio set up to actually have guests. So if you're in Nashville or you are planning a trip to Nashville and you want to come sit in this chair over here, please give me you can give me a call at the hotline, or you can just send me a DM, and I will definitely get back to you about that because again, we want to have anyone from influencers to people with fan accounts or just like interesting like stories about a celebrity encounter or whatnot. That's something I'm playing around with too, adding into this. So if that resonates with you at all and you had a crazy celebrity encounter, please reach out, because I'd love to have you on to talk about it. Even if it's not a full episode interview, if you just want to be on for like 5 minutes or so, we can make that happen too. Again, we're just getting started here. So I appreciate you all for being one of the very first listeners of the Club Crave podcast. Um, I always love like listening to something new because, it's a little clunky and it's a little rough around the edges, but like you get to listen when we're first getting started. And if this grows into something really cool, like I'm keeping note of y'all who are commenting and are supporting right now because I want to be able to say these were my like day one supporters. So yeah, I appreciate y'all so much. Today's episode is a little bit different than the first 2 episodes. So the first 2 episodes I had my husband on and I had a guest. Um and this time we're going to do a deep dive, and I feel like I can sprinkle these deep dives in, um you know and to spice things up a little bit. And I've just been dying to do a deep dive on this topic. And if you saw, I mean, you saw the title, so we are diving into our queen, Trisha Paytas. Now, listen, y'all, I'm a huge Trisha Paytas fan. If you know me from Oscar Crave, shout out. Thanks for coming over and supporting me over here. That means so much to me that you decided to follow me over on this new journey and this new project. But basically, yeah, I had a fan account for Trisha Paytas' co-host on her podcast, Just Trish, and I ran that account, or I'm still running that account, and we're actually coming up on a year. And yeah, yeah, it's been a whole journey. I went to a lot of Trisha's shows and did like interviews there with fans, and that's what kind of inspired this whole thing. So, oh my God, Virgin by Lord just dropped, you guys, as we're speaking. And I'm recording this podcast right now, and it's killing me. And I literally cannot listen to the Lord right now because if I do, I'm gonna get like a copyright strike or something. But oh my god, oh my god. If you haven't watched the first two episodes of this podcast, I've been like freaking out about Lord and this album, and I forgot it was about to drop right now. Well, I would have been done with this podcast recording by now, but I keep having technical difficulties. We're in a new studio, we're a new podcast. We had some issues sometime. But anyways, welcome to episode 3. If you saw the title, this is a deep dive into our queen of the internet, Trisha Paytas. Now, listen, if you're a hater, I want you to stay on, okay? Because I have a pitch for the haters out there. And I just want you to listen in because I really think, and you might think I'm crazy right now, but I really think Trisha Paytas is such a great example. And she inspires so many. And I think we should cheer her on for that, and we should be happy for her. And those companies out there should sponsor her and whatnot. There's a lot we're going to get into today, basically. And yeah, I just have basically a message and a pitch for all of the haters out there, as well as the people who love and adore her. You will enjoy this episode because we're going to get into all of the things. So before we get started, I would like to shout out the Hot Girl Crash Out Hotline. This episode, since we're doing a deep dive, we're not going to do any calls. I saw a couple of other calls came in. I'm really excited to listen to them. It kills me not listening to them. But I'll put the number up on the screen now. And basically, what this hotline is, you're going to give us a call whenever something happens during the week. Like right now, I'm crashing out about Lord and her new album. That's what I would pick up my phone. I would dial the number, or I would, click. Oh, get notifications on my computer. I would click on the. If I had it saved in my phone, I would click on it and give it a call and crash out. I opened this hotline because there's many times where things on the internet happen and you don't really have anybody to talk about because you're just so into something that nobody else in your friend group may be into, or anyone in your family. So I figured, what a fun little way to connect with each other, and we can learn about your niche of the internet. If you're crashing out about something that I have no clue, we're going to dig into it here on the podcast. So please call in. It'll be a fun time. And yeah. And actually, you know what? I meant to say the phone number here, because we do have some audio listeners, and I would hate to rob them of that opportunity of giving us a call. So let me find the phone number here. Okay, so if you're listening to the audio, and I'll put the graphic up one more time, put this in your phone for when a pop culture emergency happens. Something crazy happens during the week and you need to crash out about it. That phone number is 323-380-2191. And I left a little like personalized voicemail message on there to kind of prompt you. So like if you're nervous to leave a call, I kind of will help you with what to say. All right, guys, let's get into Trisha Paytas, the deep dive. Y'all, she is a controversial figure. I would argue that not so much anymore, but she's still for some reason controversial to a lot of people. And what I want this episode to really dig into is that, I don't totally understand why people have such a negative reaction to Trisha's name. When I hear Trisha Paytas' name, I light up. I'm excited. I'm inspired. You know what I mean? And most people know Trisha, I think, in our age, or like um, the Gen Zs, they all know Trisha. So everyone has a different reaction. I think most of Gen Z would be like, yeah, she's iconic. Well, the girlies and the gays at least. But there's a lot of people out there who just like, she's a terrible person. Why the hell would you like a Trisha Paytas? And I don't know what it is, but I will defend her till the day I die. And that's what this video is. We're defending our girl from the haters. There's a lot of Trisha haters out there, you guys. It's kind of insane. I don't know if you guys have encountered them online yet, but there's like this group out there, which we're gonna get into a little bit more, who are absolutely obsessed with her in a way that is just so freaky and just awful. Um, I swear that they probably tune in and watch Trisha more than I do, and I run a whole fan account, about Trisha and the podcast and Oscar. So it just baffles me. Um, but yeah, when I first kind of got into the world of Trisha and kind of made an account that was centered around that world, they came for me, y'all. They they came for my neck and they tried to convince me, that she was just the worst person. And I don't fall for that stuff. I think there are some really gullible people out there would fall for that and just listen to what they're saying and be like, "Oh my god, yikes, what was I thinking supporting Trisha Paytas?" But you have to look at the full picture, right? So that is what we're going to get into now. So today we are answering the big question. Did Trisha Paytas actually rebrand, or did she just, grow and learn and become a better person through learning healthy habits, and all of her content reflected that? So in a way, I guess that's a rebrand, but I think it happened a lot more naturally, and it wasn't like, super methodical or like super planned out. I think Trisha really, has grown as a person, and we see that in her content today, and we see that in her spirit and her energy and how she inspires others. All right, let's take a step back to the early days of Trisha Paytas. So Trisha Paytas was born in Illinois. She later moved to California, where she was a pop culture obsessed girl, right? Um, she was a huge Michael Jackson fan, which I absolutely love hearing about Trisha's like fangirl moments because that's so me coded when it comes to Trisha. I'm like, when Trisha talks about Donny Osmond or Michael Jackson, I'm like, girl, when you talk about Donnie and how like you want to be his bestie and whatnot, and like you went to all his shows and stuff like that, that is me with you. So I just love hearing about it because it makes me feel a little less crazy. You know what I mean? Sometimes like I'm worried Trisha thinks I'm nuts because I'm just like all about her and like wanting to like, you know, I just support her a lot, and I just really enjoy defending her, and thus we have this episode. So Trish was an internet fangirl. She started putting up um videos on YouTube when YouTube first got started, and she was posting just about anything, y'all. And if you're a big Trisha fan, those videos are anything from car rants to mukbangs to get ready with me's, and a lot of times she's just sitting there yapping. You know what I mean? And it's funny because you think about her early content and her content today, and I think what we really love about her still is that she can just talk and say anything, and we are enthralled with what she has to say. Um, all the content um kind of blurred the lines between being like a diary and then also like a performance. It was kind of like hard to pinpoint what was real and what was fake, you know what I mean? I feel like with Trisha's content, like she always talks about being a troll and lying a lot to get views, but I feel like a lot of it's a lot more real than she likes to admit, if that makes sense. Um, but I do think she was ditzy and really, loud and did a lot for attention. But at the same time, a lot of it was rooted in truth. So, um, well, we can go through the different Trisha Paytas eras. We've got, the Shane Dawson era when she was besties with Shane. We've got the era that she was a little emo for a moment. She did Sad Boy 2005. We've got the crying on the kitchen floor era. How could you forget? We love an era that I think is really iconic is her OnlyFans era. You know, Trish was on OnlyFans for a while and she made a lot of money, you guys. Um, it's funny because I think people think, Trisha was nuts, but and nobody supports her, and like she she will never get support unless she matures and grows. But y'all, she didn't need to like mature or grow or whatever. She did that for her own good, because back in 2019, she was on OnlyFans making bank, y'all. So again, she didn't need to you know be self-realized to to continue a successful career. She already had that. She was probably making more money then than she did now. Well, I don't know what the tour, because tours, artists make quite a bit of change, ka-ching. We love that for her. But yeah, I just think it's important to note that like she didn't have to do that. It wasn't about the success or the money. She did that for herself. Another era that was pretty iconic was the Vlog Squad era. She was dating Jason Nash at the time, and she was in the vlogs with David Dobrik, and they were the it friend group at the time. And I think a lot of people were exposed to Trish during this time. Me personally, I was exposed during the Shane Dawson era. I was a big Shane Dawson fan growing up. So yeah, that's how I was exposed to her, and I always loved Trisha. And I wasn't like into her, like what, watching every single video, and I wasn't like trying to go to her shows in high school or whatnot. I was just kind of an admirer, and whenever she'd show up in a collaboration with a YouTuber I loved, I enjoyed her videos, and then I would click on every once in a while and watch her personal videos. But again, it's not like the stan I am today with Trisha. As soon as something drops, I'm there, baby. um with each of her different eras, um Trisha Paytas has always stayed relevant. She's always known how to do that. And she talks about how she was getting very low views at times, and whatnot, but she's always been at the forefront of people's minds. Maybe they weren't always locked into her content at the time. If you guys don't know, Trish actually had a series during the pandemic with Moses, her husband, which we will get into later, called Trish Talks, and they're little skits, and they all have like this like super like important meaning, and like but they're actually like comedy skits. Sometimes I'm like, did they mean for this to be comedy? Should I be laughing at this? I think so. They are so bizarre. I don't know how. Her mind, you guys, she's very powerful. Some of those skits, I don't know where she came up with that stuff, but they're great. Okay, y'all. So we all know Trisha's record is not squeaky clean. She's had her moments. She's had quite a few moments, controversial moments. Um, and I don't think because you support Trisha Paytas, because you're a fan, doesn't mean you just. All right, y'all. If you notice things move around a little bit, I apologize. We're having some. We're a new podcast, so we're having some technical difficulties. And I'm a one-man band. I'm going up and hitting record, checking everything constantly. So again, I apologize for the little visual inconsistencies. Honestly, I probably should not even call that out, because who cares? Right? Like, who cares? Anyways, we were getting into Trisha's controversies. Fun topic. I think it's a little hard to talk about because yeah, it's like I I I think I guess my worst fear is like Trisha's gonna hear this and just feel bad about those things that she did, and like that's not. She's felt bad and she's apologized, and she's kind of gone through that phase, which a lot of people have not done. A lot of people who have been canceled on the internet, Shane Dawson. I truly don't believe he has fully, you know, apologized in a genuine way, and he kind of sweeps it all under the rug, right? Like he doesn't really talk about it. I feel like he really believes he was wronged by society, and cancel culture got him and whatnot. Now he's doing great again. Like, he's got his podcast, and it's got great views and whatnot. But I truly believe that he's never kind of genuinely apologize for that past and all those things, which um are a lot worse, guys, than what Trisha has done. So if that just shows you the misogyny of it all, which we're going to get into, because I really think a lot of this is rooted in misogyny, because you see a lot of men out there doing shitty things and then getting sponsored the next day, or getting, featured at VidCon, featured creator. Um, and like a lot of these brands and stuff, they don't call Trish. Um, and it doesn't really make any sense whatsoever to me. And I think it's rooted in misogyny. Um, so again, Trisha's gone through her controversies. We all know. Um, I mean, we can dig into them a little bit. Like, I mean, we're gonna talk about, when she came out as transgender and she didn't fully understand what it meant, and that kind of hurt people in the queer community. Um, and it was one of those things that she said, and she got a lot of attention for it. And I think at the time her mind was really rewarded by saying very controversial things. And she also, though, I mean, hey, a lot of it's rooted in truth though too, because she was having identity issues and she still talks about it to this day. That's the reason for the love of cosplaying, is because she loves becoming a different person, and she sometimes truly doesn't know who she is. And I think, now in this new era, which we love, she is learning who she is, and she's becoming self-realized, which is a great thing to see happen. And I think it's a great example for younger generations to see that you can come from a really dark place and be successful. Um, so we've got the trans thing. We've got um, Asian Trish. um, we've got, she said some racist things. Let's just call it out how it is. And Yeah, I think there's also been some like rumors out there spread by a hate group. Also, I mean, some things are true, like or could be true. But it's also like, who those things are in the past. You know what I mean? She's grown. There's a lot of abuse allegations out there. Um, I think there's this crazy photo that goes around all the time with Moses with a bruise, and people say Trish hit Moses. Um, does that mean we should hate her for life? I guess that's up to you. If you if you think that's it, that's your final straw. Um, but I also want to note that, like, people can grow and get better and become healthier. And she went through a lot of manic episodes during that era of her life. So, I mean, should we excuse it? Probably not. But can we move on from it and let people learn and grow? I think that's the answer, you guys. I think the answer is to let people learn. Okay, so if we cancel everyone, we don't let them, you know, grow and become better people and be an example of that, change or that redemption. Why would anyone who is, you know, involved in those toxic behaviors want to get better? Right? That's all I can think about with this all the time, and it drives me nuts. I'm like, yeah, Trisha did some awful things. Why can't we just get over it? You guys are so misogynistic for letting that just permeate your brain. And when you hear the words Trisha Paytas, all you could think of is she's an awful person. I'm like, y'all have missed the plot. Y'all are not thinking critically, and y'all just easily put hate on a woman. That's misogyny right there. And I'm calling it out right now, right here on the Club Crave podcast. I really, really feel like Trish has inspired a lot of people. And you guys, try to prove me wrong in the comments. Go for it. I'm ready for the hate. Because listen, y'all, there is this group out there you may have heard of. I really don't. I'm not gonna say their name or the group that they go by, because I don't really want to put a spotlight on them in any way, because what they're doing is not good, and it's not positive in any way, and it's really actually sad. These people are obsessed, you guys. So when I first started Oscar Crave, the fan account for Trisha's co-host, um, I got added to like these groups and these group chats on Twitter from this hate group who literally, y'all, their entire lives are like devoted to hating Trisha Paytas. Um, They watch, I swear, they've got Trisha on their screens and they're consuming her content more than I do. And I run the fan account for Trish. So, like, I just am appalled by it all. And I really do not understand it. It's some kind of like weird phenomenon, I swear. When I see their accounts and stuff and they're posting like every few hours and posting really awful things about Trish and like trying to convince her fans that she's just this awful person. And y'all, it's not working on me. Listen, I know Trish. I know what she's been through. I've seen it all. And y'all aren't convincing me. And I really do believe you guys are delusional. I truly believe that. And I've been dying to come on and just say that to these people because it confuses the hell out of me. Like, they're hate watching, right? I think these are people that may have been Trish fans at one point. Deep down, they still really love her, but there's some kind of misogyny in their heads. And I do think women can be misogynistic. Well, I mean, we've seen that a lot in this world. Um, Calling out, Republican women right there with that, who think, a woman can't be in charge. Not all Republican women, I guess, but like a lot of them won't vote for a woman just purely because she's a woman. You know what I mean? Um, so like it exists, and it's gross. And I want to see all of these people's past. I want to see their records. You know what I mean? I want to see the people that they've, abused in their lives, or the drugs that they've been on, and the different their stuff isn't on the internet. We'll never get to see it. I think it's a form of projection. I think it's a form, again, I'm going to say it again, keep saying it, misogyny, and just pure evil hate. Like it's pretty disgusting. And at this point I've blocked a lot of them, not all of them yet, because things keep popping up every once in a while. But they're doing the most, trying to convince the world that Trisha is just the devil. And y'all, I will bring it to you now. I've met her. She's very lovely. She's a sweetheart. So maybe just try to get to know her. Check out her new stuff. Well, I guess they are checking out her new stuff. They watch her every day. So I don't know what to tell y'all. Um, I say just get off the internet, touch some grass, and maybe do some self-reflection and go to therapy. That's what I would say to those people. Um, but yeah, this hate group, y'all, they spread conspiracies, they spread rumors, they attack her parenting. I've seen a lot of that. These people will go for the jugular. They like will see that. Okay, so we all know Moses does a lot, right? I mean, they're very open about that. Moses does a lot of cooking and he takes care of the kids while she's at tour, and um, she's pregnant. So like, pregnant women, especially if they're on tour on the weekends, are exhausted and need to probably relax because being pregnant takes a lot of energy out of you. And like, these people will just say, Moses does everything. She sits around. She's a adult baby or whatever the hell. I'm like, y'all really have these gender roles in your head still too. This is not the 1950s. The woman should not have to do everything. Sometimes families look different. That's a crazy concept, right? Oh my god, it just really pisses me off. And what a crazy concept to think that a man is doing more than a woman. Who cares if that's the case? That's the dynamic. That's how they want to do things. Maybe he's happy with that. Have you ever think of that? You ever think Moses is just happy being the caretaker and you know, it shows in everything he does and everything he says. He loves that life, and he works really hard and he supports Trish through everything. And I don't think it's our business to get into the relationship and talk about Trish's and parenting. We do not see the full picture, you guys. There's no way we can form an opinion on that because we don't see that. Also, who are we to judge? I think, again, it's projection of some kind. I think these people are, I don't want to like stoop too low with this, but I think these people like are probably lower lower to middle class. And right now in this country, a lot of people are struggling. I will say that. A lot of people are struggling financially. There's not good childcare out there. We I'm very like political, and I'm very passionate. So like I will bring that up probably every episode, just different issues that I support, and different things that I believe we should as a country, give and provide and whatnot to people, and treat them as humans. And I think there's a lot of people struggling out there, and I think this group specifically is struggling hardcore, and they see Trisha, on top, right? She's doing all these amazing things, and then she comes home to a husband who is just so lovely, and is a dream husband, taking care of the family, feeding the kids, letting Trisha just rest. And they probably have a shitty husband at home. I'm just going to say it, who sits on his ass, and they have to do everything. And they're projecting once again. And again, I don't like to give too much attention to this group, but I just had to get into it with this deep dive because it is pretty nasty. And I'm like, y'all, you act like Trisha is out there like a mass murderer, or like, I don't know, like one of those true crime things like people are obsessed with. It's giving that. And y'all are like, again, missing the plot. Like, y'all just admit you're a fan and lighten the fuck up and just enjoy the content. Anyways, let me shut up about that. So next I want to talk about cancel culture a little bit, and how it affects um the people who are being canceled, but also just the viewers of that cancellation, and how that can cause people to not want to grow. So let me step back. I just I think cancellation culture is a good thing, right? I think when somebody does something awful, they say something racist, they say something very offensive to a lot of people, I don't think their platform should maintain, popularity, or you shouldn't probably get being, you know, getting paid the same. These sponsorships and whatnot should probably pull back. And that should, be how it is at any job. You do something awful, you say something awful, you offend somebody, you got to take a step back. You might get fired. And a lot of these influencers, they do something, and honestly the people kind of fired them. And it's cool to see, because it really, to somebody who's awful and needs that wake up call, it it can either one spiral you into being, or spiral them, I guess, into being jaded, and the world is so against me, cancel culture sucks, these snowflakes, or whatever the hell they want to say. Or it can be like, oh my god, like I really offended a lot of people with that, like maybe I should like watch what I say next time when I talk about different types of people and minorities and whatnot. um and so yeah, I think cancel culture is good, but what I will say is there's kind of a lack of there's a lack of empathy, I guess, and a lack of just allowing people to grow. You know, it makes me sad when I see Trish, like not get sponsored. I know it's kind of become a joke at this point. The Papa John, the Domino's, right? The Domino's, yeah. The Domino's sponsorship never happens for her. It's become kind of a joke, but also like things like that, right? Why is Trish not sponsored by these big companies? Why is she not getting asked to go to VidCon and be a featured creator? You know, um, and a lot of it has to do with people who just cannot let someone grow and be better. And I think Trish has done enough to prove that she has grown and she is better. Um, you know, she has she spreads a lot of joy with her shows. She puts out a lot of content and makes a lot of people happy. And she is outspoken about her journey and her redemption. And that inspires a lot of people, you guys. Do you guys realize how many people probably come up to Trish, and I've heard it myself, and say, she saved my life, basically, or that she inspired me to keep going and live another day. I think that alone is huge, you guys, because we need that, right? The world needs more of that. Can you not agree? I don't think anyone can disagree with that, right? I just, it really frustrates me that, you see somebody did something in the past and you're like, I'll never get over that. Really? What did Trisha do that's so unforgivable? There are unforgivable things that people can do, but Trisha has not done anything unforgivable, and that's how I feel. And I think if you think that you cannot forgive her or support her, or just quit hating on her at the very least, you're a little misogynistic, and that's just a fact. And I know when you hear me say that, you're probably like kind of like pulling back. You're kind of like, this guy's nuts. What is he talking about? I'm not misogynistic. I'm a woman myself, or I'm not misogynistic. I love women. I love my mom. But that's not how it works, you guys. Misogyny is something deeply rooted within us that we cannot pinpoint. We grew up in a society where women still to this day are not being paid the same as men, and they don't get put in positions of power like men do. And women are looked at as being too emotional, or you know they don't have the power to be successful on their own. They need a man with them. And every movie we watched growing up, every TV show we grew up watching, um, the woman always was being saved by a man, the damsel in distress kind of thing. So it makes sense that our brains are wired that way, right? To like think that women are maybe not as smart, or they need help all the time and stuff like that, um or they're not as easy to forgive because we look at them a lot differently than we do men. For some reason, somebody like a Shane Dawson or a Matt Rife, they can go through a big cancellation, and then in a few years they're right back on top. And yeah, that's what's happening right now in this world. And that's in the internet sphere, but look at pop culture. um I mean, Chris Brown, first thing I can think of. Literally, um a repeat offender, a repeat abuser, and somebody who's still in that behavior to this day, and people still love and support him. Kanye West, he's still on top. He's still got big hits, and he's gone absolutely nuts, saying the most awful, vile things. So, yeah, I just think people love to give men forgiveness, love to support men, love to see them grow and change. But when it comes to a woman doing it, it's not the same story. It's really not. Um, so yeah, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. All right, now we're gonna move into the Moses era. You guys, Moses Hackman came into Trisha's life, and you know what? Actually, they didn't have a perfect relationship at the start. They both, I think, were pretty toxic, from what I've heard and seen on the internet. Um, Not understanding each other's boundaries, or not knowing how to set boundaries with each other. And but for some reason, both of them just kept coming back to each other, and that, I think, that's so sweet. And I Moses ha- continued to show up and continue to like support Trisha through all this, and she's never really been with anyone who has like continued to love and support her and not criticize her or trigger her in any way. He's really been a safe space for her. um and he's learned how to navigate somewhat like being in a relationship with somebody who has a mental illness. I think that is a very important thing to learn, and or like an important thing to see happen online, you know what I mean? Like if you yourself have a mental illness and you see that Trish and Moses made it, I think that's a beautiful lesson of like, okay, I can manage this mental illness and still end up marrying somebody, even with the issues that I have in my head. Um, so yeah, it's beautiful. And I love that Moses, you know, he, at the end of the day, he didn't like fix Trish. He just helped create the safety for her to thrive and grow into herself and become more self-realized and all these things, and to be successful. Like, she is at the absolute top of her game right now, and a lot of that, she says, is because Moses is so supportive and is so willing to help out, with the kids and with just different, like, he's in the podcast, he's like the director of the set. He's, you see him with the headphones and the messing with the lights and the cameras and whatnot. So he's a very supportive guy. And we love you, Moses. We love you so much for, we love you, Moses. We love you for supporting our queen and helping her get to the tippy top. And she is absolutely crushing everything right now. So, but anyways, what I wanted to really say with that is they stuck it out. They showed that, you can both have toxic behaviors. And one of my favorite songs is "Grow as We Go" by Ben Platt. Me and my husband, that was one of our wedding songs. Um, it's a song about, like, I think a lot of people think like you have to. It's like the RuPaul quote, right? If you can't love yourself, you can't love anyone else. I kind of think that's it's cute, but I don't know if it's fully true. I used to love that quote. And then now I'm like, actually, like, I think you can not fully love yourself and love somebody and, be in a relationship. And I get the sentiment, meaning like you kind of can't fill somebody else's cup until yours is full, which I get that, but I also don't think a relationship has to be you constantly giving to another person and like giving all this, energy, good energy to them. Like, I don't I guess what I'm trying to say is you don't have to be perfect to be in a relationship, and you can work together to grow as a couple and as individuals, and you can, it's like a symbiotic relationship where you continue to grow. And, you know I'm thinking just about Moses being so helpful around the house and like helping Trisha, like, be able to do all these crazy things like the podcast and going on tour. And then I think about Trisha, with Moses, just like, you know being a friend and someone to talk to. And that brings us to the Just Trish podcast era. Yo, what a lovely era we're in right now. It's just so great to have so much content and to have it from our girl, our queen of the internet, you guys. And she's like in the peak of her career right now. And I think it's just gonna go up from here. I really want to mention Oscar Gracie and how impactful his addition to Trisha's life in this era has impacted her and her career. I really, really believe that Oscar has given her this safe space that she's never had before, really, to just kind of talk, about the hot topics and just be a friend to her and not judge her and not push her. I think a lot of, I guess, a past co-host of hers really exploited her for her mental illnesses and was just kind of an a-hole, and still is to this day. He's crashing out all the time. He could call the hotline, the hot girl crash out hotline, crash out. That would be great. Um, um, but anyways, I just think Oscar has done a really good job about, you know, just kind of being there as a friend and being a commentator. And I think a lot of that's rooted in his beginning with the podcast, because the podcast is called Just Trish, right? So I think he said before that he was a little bit nervous and about being like on screen because it's, Just Trish. It's supposed to be just Trish. um but he pitched her, he's like, the back and forth I think people really like. And if you want me to be that person, I'm happy to. And she agreed. And people loved it from there, and it's been a hit ever since. um so yeah, I think um he was nervous about starting that and like not saying too much or doing too much, um, but he compliments her so well, and he sets up the topics, which I think is really helpful for Trish right now, especially since she's so busy. Um, she can kind of just show up, and Oscar's going to cue it up, and then she can kind of react and talk about it. And that's what her viewers want. We just want to hear them yap all day long and talk about different people on the internet and talk about what's going on in her life. It's so fun to watch her manifest these new dreams and these new things, from the past year. I mean, she's done SNL, she's done the Broadway show, she's done the Heirs of Trish tour, and somehow still maintained the podcast every week. How insane, you guys! Can you imagine flying every weekend to a new city, putting on a show three times a week? She usually did it like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then literally Monday morning fly back to home, and jump right into the podcast chair and just go for it. I mean, I know you're just sitting there talking, but like when I get home from a trip, y'all, I'm ready to be in bed in my pajamas, sleeping and catching up on rest. So I commend her for that, especially doing that pregnant. Um, so yeah, I think the Just Trish podcast era is just it's like my favorite. I mean, it is my favorite. It's really where I entered into the Trisha world and became a huge fan and started Oscar Crave, which, oh yeah, I've got my microphone here. You may recognize this from my boots on the ground interviews. Um, I'll put some on the screen, but I had so much fun during the Heirs of Trish tour, um, going to the shows and talking with fans and doing interviews. And I don't know, you guys, it was just a ball. And I went through a little post show depression because I mean, I just always had another show to look forward to. I guess overall, the past year, I went to 7 different Trish shows. I went to 5 Eras of Trish shows, which um, I expected maybe to go to 2, maybe 3, and then somehow I ended up going to 5, which I my friends who know me know that that's not that shocking. Um, and Then I went to the Broadway show, which one of the best days of my entire life. Um, I mean, I came home. I don't know if I'll ever post the video, but I came home and I was like making like a little like video of me. I was exhausted from my flight and just everything I had been through the past couple days, and I just cried and cried because in this video, and I'm talking about how I am so thankful to be a part of this community and so thankful to, the producer for inviting me and Trish Crave to come on the pink carpet and be there right in the front to take pictures of Trish and to take video and to do interviews out there, and then to like see all these big celebrities come through and just be a part of that. It was just a Trisha fan's dream come true. It really was. It was amazing. Um, so I just think about that all the time, and how lucky I was to get to experience that. Anyways, the other show I went to was Trishmas, and that was actually my very first time seeing Trish live, and I got to meet Oscar for the first time. I came up to him and I was just like, "Hey, I'm Oscar Crave," and that was cool to meet him for the first time. And yeah, so it's been a journey. It really has been, and I'm so lucky to have been kind of a part of the universe. Just a little person out here doing my thing, posting different content. Just trying to really what I'm doing with this. Yeah, you could say I'm trying to build my own platform, build my own thing, but really, I'm so passionate about Trisha and what she's got going on, as well as the podcast. And I love Oscar because I see a lot of myself in him. He works for Entertainment Tonight, and I'm a huge fangirl. So like the idea of going to red carpets and interviewing people. Um, I'm also a video editor. I went to school for video editing, so like the way he works for Entertainment Tonight and does all those TikTok edits, I think are really cool. I would love to do something like that one day. Um, so yeah, anyways, I'm just really love this era, and I know a lot of you guys are locked in as well. We just cannot get enough of that podcast. And if you're a Patreon member, we've got the Patreon out. We've got we've got a lot of content to consume throughout the week, and it still sometimes doesn't feel like enough. I'm like, okay, I want more. I want more. Um, so yeah, that this era is such a great era. And then one last little segment or one last little bit I want to talk about is the Camp Queen era. Um, I think she has become the camp queen of the internet, right? Like, I think she always kind of has been, but now people are starting to catch on and like realize this is the queen. I think before there's questions about who the queen was. This is the queen. Trisha Paytas is the queen of the internet, and I will say that and defend that till I die. Um, she gives blonde ditzy girl bimbo energy. She gives drag queen. She gives a little bit of non-binary tease with her different cosplays and the way she likes to play with gender. She gives pop star energy all the way. That's so her, pop star. And one thing with fan culture and this podcast being about the fandoms and whatnot, I truly believe that Trisha can make it to the very top, maybe 3 or 4 times bigger than she is right now by just fostering this fandom that she's got. Um, I think everyone should look at Taylor Swift's career and see how she got to the top. And I believe that a lot of that has to do with the fandoms. I was a Swiftie. I had a Swiftie fan account. Um, and Taylor interacted with her fans online, and she had a official fan account called Taylor Nation, who basically posts updates, kind of like what I do with Oscar Crave, um, about Taylor, as well as hypes people up and interacts with people, and they're actually part of Taylor's official team. So like Taylor Nation is actually the people that would like choose the fans to meet Taylor. Back in the day, Taylor would do that on her own, but when she got so big and she had a lot going on, she hired on this team, Taylor Nation, to kind of do that for her. So they also went on tour and picked out fans in the crowd to meet Taylor after the show. So yeah, I just think there's ways to continue fostering this fandom. And with the Taylor fandom, there were like many influencers within the Taylor fandom. Like, I met a guy at the show at Trisha's show. His name's Dom. He is actually like a huge Swifty fan account. He's met Taylor. He goes to so many shows. He has the coolest cosplays. And when I saw him at the show, he like introduced or he like recognized me first, and he's like, "Oh my god, Oscar Crave, so great to meet you." And I'm like, what? Like, I'm a huge fan of you. I have followed you for a very long time. So that was a surreal moment. But the point I'm making is that, like, I think if she can create more influencers within her fandom, and I mean, simply does that by just interacting with people, and you know that, I mean, yeah, I guess that's it. She just needs to interact with more people, and which she does quite a bit. So I don't know. I just think that like there needs to be more fan accounts out there trying to get her attention. Maybe there needs to be more like fan ways to interact with her fans. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's some kind like at the shows. Maybe she can start like doing like giveaways of meet and greets. Like, you want to meet Trish after the show? Well, if you're wearing the coolest costume, or if you're going the hardest in the crowd, somebody from my team is going to come out and find you and give you a little ticket that says you can meet Trish after the show. Um, Things like that, just little things like that. And Trish, if you're looking for somebody to run that, call me, girl. I understand your fan base. I know what they love. I know what they want, and I would love to help you with that. I love fan culture. I love fandoms, and I love just like being a fangirl myself. I think I know like what we could do together. I'm really going in to to foster that and then to take to that next level of fame. So call me Trish. Y'all, to conclude, Trisha is not the same person she was 5 years ago, 3 years ago, or even last year. Trisha is evolving. She's growing like humans do, like all of us do. We've all grown. We've all done things in our past that we regret, right? She's growing. She's healing. She's still very chaotic, but in the most fabulous, self-aware way possible. And she's our viral internet queen. She's a star. She's so lovable in so many ways. And yes, I think we should hold people accountable, but also we need to let people evolve as well. And that is my message here today for this deep dive, is just let people grow and learn and evolve and become better people. Because Trisha Paytas didn't just survive the internet, she reinvented it on her own sparkly, unhinged terms. And before we go, I just want to give another shout out to the Hot Girls Crashing Out Hotline. Call us and talk about anything. If you want to react to this episode, crash out about the episode, please do so. We can talk about it next week. And yeah, leave a voicemail and react to anything that's going on in your life or in pop culture and society. And we'll be here. We'll be a listening ear for you. So thanks for listening, guys. Follow Club Crave on TikTok, Club Crave Media on Instagram, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you enjoy this and you want to see my next video pop up on your home screen, so you know when it's out. Definitely give us a follow, and be sure to like the video too. I guess that helps with the algorithm and whatnot. So yeah, until next time. Bye, divas. I love these damn Labubu's.